The first step of making a calendula salve is you need to infuse an oil with calendula. I showed you how to do that in a recent video, but in summary, you combine about half a cup of dried calendula flowers with 1 cup of a oil of your choice. I like to use olive oil or jojoba oil. You cover the petals completely with oil, add a lid, and let that sit and infuse for about 8 weeks. And then you just strain that off using a strainer and you have your calendula infused oil. We like to use that oil just plain, but you can also use it as the base of a calendula salve. If you're really into making herbal remedies and maybe you're new to it, make sure to check out the free guide that I've put below with 10 simple herbal remedies that you can make at home for the wintertime. I did it in collaboration with an organization called Grassroots Remedies, and they are a really great team of herbalists who teach people how to forage and how to make their own herbal remedies at home. And I'll leave a link for you to check that out in the description below. To make the salve, you'll need that infused oil. You'll also need beeswax pellets, shea butter, and then optionally you can use vitamin E oil and essential oils. Definitely recommend using local beeswax if you can find any, but if you can't, I've linked everything that I have used down below in the description. I prefer to make my salve without any essential oils because I want it to be as plain and simple as possible, but you can of course add whatever scent you prefer. You'll also need a double boiler. What I do is I went to a thrift store and found a little small glass dish that I use for all my beeswax-based body products because beeswax is really hard to completely clean off of things. And so I just went to a thrift store and found a dedicated small glass bowl that I can use in this way. And I just put that into a saucepan to make my double boiler. The first thing you want to do is add 3 tablespoons of beeswax pellets to your double boiler and 1 tablespoon of shea butter. Then you put your glass bowl in your saucepan and melt those 2 together. Keep it on a really low heat if you're also using this sort of setup for your double boiler. The key is that you don't want water to splash into the melting ingredients. You want to avoid that because water can make it harder for the salve to set up, and it also can make your salve spoil more quickly. So just keep the heat on really low. While that melts, I am going to strain off the calendula oil. You need 1 cup of infused oil for this recipe. I had some left over from the last batch I made, but it's not quite enough, so I'm going to be straining off a little bit more from the next batch that I have infusing. This batch hasn't been infusing very long at all, I think only a few weeks, but I only need a little bit of it, so I'm okay with it not being super potent. After I've strained off what I need from that oil, I'm just going to top it up with a bit more and then put it back in the pantry to keep steeping. So now I've got a full 1 cup of calendula infused oil, and the next step is to add it to the beeswax and shea butter. After the shea butter and beeswax are combined, you just add in that calendula oil. The cool oil will cause the beeswax to harden, but you just need to gently warm the beeswax back on the stove so everything is melted and incorporated evenly. Just keep the heat on really low so you don't heat away any of the skin healing benefits in these ingredients. If you're the kind of person who wants to read a recipe instead of trying to remember it, I've linked the full recipe to this salve down below. After everything is melted together, I just pour the mixture into a little shallow glass jar. It's best to use like shallow glass jars as opposed to something very large because it makes it easier to get the salve out. I have little amber glass salve jars that I've purchased, but you really can use whatever you have. I recently tried out a tallow cream and saved this little jar, so I'm just repurposing it for this salve as well. I recommend letting your salve sit uncovered for about 24 hours so it can fully harden before you add a lid to the jar. That will help to avoid any condensation from being formed in the jar. It's a really lovely consistency that's spreadable, but it's also really moisturizing, super simple to make. I'm also going to be getting started a plantain oil because a few videos back I mentioned I have a child who has very sensitive skin, and I'm kind of experimenting on a kind of custom salve that helps them. I've been using calendula oil on them, but I think we need something that has a combination of herbs in it, not just calendula. So I'm going to get a plantain oil started because I want to use the plantain oil in the salve. Plantain is can help with itchiness and that sort of thing. I've shown on this channel how to make plantain oil before, so if you're interested in doing that, you can just search for that video. But all you really need to do is add the plantain into the glass jar. I'm using some plantain that I dried after I found it in our local park, which is super fun. And I just crumbled it up and then putting it into this glass jar. I'm filling it with about a half cup of dried plantain and then pouring over the oil. I'm using sweet almond oil in this. It's a good one for sensitive skin. You could also use olive oil. I'm making a few batches of it because in addition to the salve I'm making for my child, I want to make a few batches of plain plantain salve to have on hand as well. And both of those salves will use plantain oil as either the base or a very prominent oil. I hope you try to make your own calendula salve. It's a great one, especially because at least where we are, calendula is still blooming. You can still harvest fresh flowers and make a salve with them. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Please let me know if there are any herbal remedies that you'd want me to share on this channel. And until next time, thank you for stopping by, and I'll speak to you in the next video.